This is a music channel, but it's also a sneak peek into what musicians deal with in their lives more than just making music, right? Okay, so I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm literally leaving the drugstore, picking up medication for my brother. He has a mental illness. He has a combination of bipolar and schizophrenia. At least the last diagnosis. At the last diagnosis, okay. Uh, he's gone through a lot, and at least in this last year, I've gone through it with him, and I'm still learning a lot of things about the disorder, the illness, and relearning his personality on top of it. So there's a lot of things going on with me and him in the situation. But um, I guess in the last few days, uh, the artist known as Kanye, so I'm just going to refer to him as Kanye, or now he's going by Ye, Y-E, Ye, um, issued an apology, like a public apology. And I haven't read it. I'm just going to be honest. I haven't read it, and I do want to read it perhaps. But the only reason I'm mentioning it now is because there are people responding to his apology. And this is kind of where I guess we're caregivers and people who, I don't want to say they don't understand. It is such a horrific illness. It is deceptive, and it really does make people believe things that they normally wouldn't believe. And I'm only saying that to say because I'm going through that with my brother. And like I said, I just went and picked up his meds. Luckily, I've been on top of it. I've been his advocate and his caregiver, and I want to understand the in like the nuances of his mental illness, right? So if Kanye has been going through this for so long, so many years, and a lot of things that will trigger a mental illness is so tricky. It's like the one something that some people will find, resilience in will trigger somebody else. Some people can't handle biochemically certain things. And I guess that's what I've come to realize. Especially, like I said, in the case of my brother, I don't know, how serious. I'll just say this: I've seen, things that has happened over the years with Kanye West. We've all seen it, right? And these are these invisible disorders or things that makes it really hard for the people on the outside to understand like what's happening on the inside. And now that I live with somebody who's dealing with something like that, it's like being a prisoner inside of your own self. And that's really all I can say from what I can see. Luckily, I will say this, luckily my brother is not violent. He's not aggressive per se. And maybe because it's me, his big sister, that he reacts to me in a certain way, right? Had it be other people, like I don't want to say we have similar personalities, but I do know how he thinks. And I can kind of gauge you know, where he's doing okay versus he's not doing so okay. And that's why it's so, like, I don't know. I wish more people would talk about it. And I do. I talk about it. That's why I put it over here. I've been journaling about it. I'm just going to be honest, for the past year or so. I'm not saying that, I'm anywhere near some kind of solution or anywhere near where everything is wonderful, beautiful. Things are at a settling point. I will say that. This last year with my brother has been a lot, a lot. Okay. But I rose to the occasion. I was also determined to make sure that my brother got the care he deserves. There's that too. Even if it meant him fighting against me, helping him. And sometimes that is the case with folks who are dealing with a mental illness. I'm also going to say that people who are caring for people who are dealing with mental illness, they also need support. And I'm at least over the last summer, I was going to a support group, and that was super helpful because a lot of the things I was feeling, I didn't feel alone in feeling that. And I didn't feel like, am I supposed to be feeling this way, or feeling guilty, or feeling resentful, or feeling like, is this how it's supposed to be? Just having that camaraderie really did make a difference. Okay. And that's why I'm saying I wish more people would talk about it, because when I started talking about it around people, more folks were saying, oh yeah, my cousin, or yeah, my aunt, or my dad is like that. So a lot of people are dealing with some stuff. And I've also come up against a lot of the healthcare issues. I mean, if healthcare is already bad enough in the United States, stack on top of that mental health. Okay. I've even gotten to the point where, and I'm going in deeper too, as I, do better for my brother, there's what is called parity laws. Okay. Parity laws had to come about because people were not getting the care that they needed. Meaning, this is some of the stuff I was running into and still running up against. So my brother, he needs a therapist, like somebody to talk to. And all the therapists I would find, say like online, they would take a certain insurance, but then when I reached out to them, they were like, "Oh no, we don't take that insurance." I was like, "But why are you broadcasting that you're taking a certain insurance when you're not?" Or this is also kind of a tactic, unfortunately, where they're saying that they do take the insurance, but then they're also saying, well, right now we don't have availability. So there are parity laws against, um, yeah, there are parity laws against healthcare providers from discriminating against people, or insurance companies themselves, even if the folks who are available, you know, if they've taken, I hate to say it, taken a quota of a certain kind of insurance, they don't want to take anymore, but then you have to pay. It's like, it's a lot of money on top of somebody who might be seriously ill to the point where they don't work, they can't work, their brain is scrambled. For lack of a better word, I can't say it any nicer, where their brain is scrambled. Okay. And they cannot work. So I don't know how far off, how bad Kanye got to where he got to the point where he's now publicly um apologizing to the public. Again, I haven't read the letter yet, and I will eventually. But what gives me solace when I'm with my brother, working with him, is even things like this morning, because I have to go make sure he takes his medication twice a day, every day at this point. So, the illness is so that say that they're lying, but I remember a time, and I'm just going to say this, where my brother, I know he was in the hospital because I put him there. We together, me and him, decided that he was going to be hospitalized. And I knew that's where he was. And he called me, and he really made me believe that he was halfway across the country. That's how deep these delusions, those are some of the symptoms. That's how deeply they believe. Okay. So, like I said, I feel like more people need to be aware of the illness and the toll it takes. Okay. Where am I going? I'm going to go medicate my brother. So, like I said, I have to make sure he gets his medication twice a day, every day. Every day. But we're getting better. Okay. We're getting a lot better. And I'm just a singer-songwriter teacher. I teach little kids, I teach big kids, I write music, I perform music. And also, when I say I'm a caregiver, this is what I mean. I have to also remind my parents how bad, how, not say, I'm saying bad, but what it looks like on him, this mental illness. Because I think a lot of times people really think worst case scenario or that it doesn't look that bad because he doesn't look like he's sick. Okay? He doesn't look like he's sick if to look at him. And like I said, unless you started to talk to him, get to know him, you wouldn't know that he's disabled. And at this point, he is technically disabled, you know. But like I said, I have hope. He knows who I am for the most part. Um, the one thing that does seem to be crippling definitely is his memory. Like he doesn't remember things almost at all. Um, and that's devastating. He might not remember. That's why I have to go see him every day. I can't miss a day because he won't remember to take his medicine. He won't remember seeing me until I see him. Yeah. Does it make me sad? Yeah, it makes me sad because he's very smart. But it also makes me want to keep trying for him. Okay? I don't know. Will he recover? I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing some things. I'm working on a lot of things. His nutrition, I'm definitely in charge of that. So helping him make sure he eats well and sleeps well, gets his medication like he needs to. Because otherwise, he's not going to do it on his own. He's not going to be able to do it on his own. But, so yeah. Time will tell when it comes to Kanye West, I guess. He has people, he has handlers. I almost feel like that his situation is worse because he's a celebrity, and too many times people or the people around him just want to please him, keep making the money or whatever if they're getting paid, kind of thing. And they might realize that this man is sick, but they don't want to lose the paycheck and they don't want to stand up against him, or they don't want to challenge him. And that makes it a whole lot worse than somebody who doesn't have any resources that you're trying to get from them and they need help. So yeah, so I feel for him. I feel for his family, Kanye West, that is. You know, quite honestly, seriously, I know a lot of people are mad at him because the things he said, but he's mentally ill, y'all. And if you knew how deep this goes, how what it looks like to have bipolarism, some people know, some people don't. Some people get like, you know, even with they get to the point where they just can't anymore. It is exhausting. It really is. Okay, it's exhausting. All right, so but like and subscribe because I am a singer songwriter too. Yeah. So yeah, let me go get him his medication. But then I'm gonna say take care, like and subscribe, okay? All right. Bye y'all.